Hello Captains, and welcome to my gaming channel, Just Gaming for Us. I am your host Brent Justice, and welcome to the game Star Trek Online. Today I am going to be performing a Starship review. This is a new format that I have constructed. It is more compact and quicker than my previous Starship reviews. So I hope you enjoy this new format and let me know what you think below. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Crossfield-Class Science Spearhead starship, also known as the Discovery. That's right, it's time to dive into this one. This is the USS Discovery for all intents and purposes. But it is the Crossfield-Class starship, and specifically the Science Spearhead, as it is called. This is a Tier 6 starship in Star Trek Online. It is leveling. It will level all the way from beginning to end level with you, and its stats will upgrade as you level because it is a Tier 6 ship. Looking at the specifications in Star Trek Online, it says here, while the Crossfield-Class was originally created to be a vessel that specialized in scientific endeavors, these starships were heavily modified in an effort to aid the war efforts that erupted between the Federation and Klingons after the Battle of the Binary Stars in the mid-23rd century. These refits proved to be highly effective, and thus a new breed of starship, the Science Spearhead, was born. This starship comes with a Lieutenant Universal/Temporal Operative Specialty Seat and a Lieutenant Commander Universal/Intelligence Specialty Seat. The Crossfield Science Spearhead comes equipped with a Console Universal Mycelium Ambush. When this console's power is activated, your starship's weapon will be temporarily disabled as your ship instantaneously moves forward to a destination some distance from your current position. Upon arrival at your destination, a pulse of energy is discharged, impeding the engines of nearby ships while enhancing your own starship's weapons for a brief period. After a few seconds, multiple payloads of torpedoes are released, and your starship's weapons are briefly disabled again in order to instantaneously move backwards to your original position. The console also provides passive bonuses to control expertise, drain expertise, exotic particle generators, and scientific readiness. This console may be equipped in any console slot and on any starship, but only one may be equipped at a time. After achieving level 5 in your science, the ship used to be called the Vanguard, that's why it says Vanguard here. After achieving level 5 in your Science Vanguard or Spearhead Starship Mastery, you will unlock the Black Alert Starship trait. While this trait is active, activating Beam Overload, Cannon Rapid Fire, or any Intelligence Bridge Officer ability will allow temporarily displaced duplicates of your ship to appear near any foes that you damage over the next several seconds. Each of these duplicates will fire torpedo spreads at the damaged foe and other nearby targets. This trait may only be activated once every 25 seconds. So as I mentioned, this is a Tier 6 starship. The hull strength goes from 39,000 at level 40 to 44,850 at level 50, and then finally at 52,000 at level 60. It has a shield modifier of 1.25. It is a science ship, so typically they have a higher shield modifier, and this one does. This one is unique because it has 4 forward weapons and 3 aft. Sometimes on science vessels, you might only see 3 forward weapons, but this one has 4 forward weapons and 3 aft. You also get 3 device slots. You get bridge officer stations, being 1 Lieutenant Commander Tactical, 1 Ensign Engineering, 1 Commander Science, 1 Lieutenant Universal/Temporal Operative, 1 Lieutenant Commander Universal/Intelligence. So it has some flexibility there on the bridge officer seatings. You have 4 tactical consoles, 2 engineering, 5 science. So it's very light on the engineering and heavy on the science and tactical. For a science ship, it has a fair amount of tactical slots. So it could be a very good kind of offensive force as a science ship. Base turn rate is 10. Impulse modifier 0.18, inertia 45. It does have plus 10 weapons to power and plus 10 to auxiliary. Again, most science ships just have a plus 10 to auxiliary. So this one having plus 10 to power, plus some more tactical console slots and the bridge officer abilities here kind of lend to this being more of an offensive kind of science ship. Something you can actually do a little bit of damage with. It does have that unique universal mycelium ambush console. We will look at that. You can equip dual cannons on this. It has sensor analysis because it's a science ship. You also have subsystem targeting because it's a science ship. And you also have a secondary deflector slot because it's a science ship. And it also has the science vessel starship mastery package. So that's the enhanced particle generators, which gives you exotic damage. The advanced shield systems, which is shield capacity, and enhanced restorative circuitry, which is healing, reactive shield technology, which is shield regeneration and hardness, and then the black alert starship trait. And we will look at the mycelial ambush ability. We will look at the black alert, and I will go over all of the buffs that you get as you update your mastery in the ship. And we will take it into battle and look at that as well. But first, I'm going to hop on over to the area where you can customize a starship, and we'll look and see what we can do for visual customizations. Here we are, being able to customize the starship. This is what we can do with it. It only has one template called the Crossfield, so there are no different templates for it. You also can, it does have, I think it might have a unique bridge. Yes, it does have a unique bridge, the Crossfield bridge. This is a unique bridge it has, which is very cool. The windows, you have the Crossfield windows, which are the default. There's a Type 1 window. You can see how they look on the ship here as I change through the different options. Type 6 is pretty bright there. But we'll just stick with the default Crossfield. There's a better view of the windows. Let's look at that view. There's 1, 2, 3. 2 is kind of blurry. 3, 4, 5. 6 is pretty bright. I like 6 or just the default Crossfield. So those are the window options you can do. I mean, that doesn't really change it a lot. The biggest thing is going to be the material here. You have, of course, the Discovery material that it comes with. For some reason, it's giving me a ton of different options on materials for this, and that's probably not accurate to what you'll actually receive. I don't know why it's giving me so many options for materials here, but hey, I'll just go through them anyway. For some reason, it's giving me a Defiant material. I mean, it's kind of strange that it would do that, but there it is. So that's an interesting look. There's the Discovery one by default. And then we've got these different ones. Discovery Era Starfleet Type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't even know what all that is, but definitely see a lot of differences there. This one's a little darker. It's just painted a little differently. This one's pretty bright. Almost looks cartoonish. Look at that one. Look at that. It changes the color on everything. That's actually pretty crazy. Let's see, that doesn't change the color. Actually, it does. It changes the color of the deflector there quite a bit. It changes the dome on there for Defiant, because the default looks like that. So then we have this one. I didn't know all these existed. Look what it does to the deflector on this one. Wow. That's pretty kind of cool looking, actually. Ooh, that one's very bluish. It's got a blue dome, but the deflector doesn't light up. But it's got a cool pattern on it. That's really, really striking. Just a little bit different on that one. This one's yellow. Yeah, I'm not sure where all these different textures come from, honestly. I must have other things in here that are allowing this to happen, because why would I have a why would the galaxy texture be available on this ship? That doesn't make sense, but there it is on mine anyway. Okay. Intrepid, why is he... This has got to be a bug. Somebody tell me this is a bug, because this is really strange. The NX and the NX refit. Why would I have the Sovereign? I mean, that looks really cool. I'm gonna say that's pretty slick. I just don't know why I have the options for all this. And then of course you have the regular Type 0. Type 0 is pretty crazy. 1, 2, 3. Boy, that's bright. 3, 4. Oh, that's dark. 5. Now that is pretty slick. Look at that. It's kind of silverish looking. That looks really modern right there. I like that texture a lot, to be honest with you. 5, 6. That one is very reflective, or very white. That is so white. It's blinding. 7. 8. 8B. Sure, why not? The upgrade, that's right, if you do upgrades, you get like this special upgrade texture. I guess I have that too. So sure, why not? And then the veteran texture, and that's of course on all ships. I like the veteran. I've always liked the veteran texture, but that looks pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know why I have all these options, and you may not have all these options. So if you get this ship, don't expect you to have all these options, certainly. I must have a lot of things, and that just applies to this ship, I guess. But we'll go with the default Discovery on this review here. That's what it looks like by default anyway. We'll take a look at the ship in space, of course, and go over some of the finer details on it in a second. You can, of course, change the colors and the patterning on that as well. If we go to advanced, there's nothing you can do with style, so there's not any ability to change out components with other components and so forth, or other styles of ships. And you can, of course, change the pattern or put a pattern on it. That is your visual options that we have for this ship. Let's go into space and take a look at it in space and up close and see what it looks like in space. Okay, here we are in space. And kind of want to give you a size comparison of it, so we'll just fly close to some ships that are around here. Here's a nebula, so you can kind of see how it compares in size to that, if I can line it up really good. It's a pretty big ship for the era. It's very long. The nacelles are extremely long, obviously. Here's a Galaxy X up here. Everybody knows how big the Galaxy is, so this will give you a good size comparison. Give me just a second to line this up best I can here. And as you can see, as I'm maneuvering it, it's very maneuverable. It's a very maneuverable science ship. So as I come right next to the Galaxy X here, there's a good idea of how it looks compared to the size of a Galaxy X. It's actually longer than a Galaxy X. It's obviously not as girthy, not as wide, but it's definitely longer due to the nacelles. And yeah, for the era that this is in, this is a fairly large starship. And I believe it might actually be bigger than the Enterprise of that era. So that gives you a bit of a size comparison on it. If I zoom all the way out, this is what it looks like zoomed all the way out. So it's kind of tiny when it's zoomed all the way out, but not the smallest I've ever seen, of course. And if we zoom all the way in, yeah, those nacelles get right in your face. So you can really like get up close and personal with this ship if you zoom all the way in. But as far as maneuverability goes, you can kind of see me turn here. I'm doing a full turn, and it's turning quite good. It's got a really good turn radius for the size of the ship. It doesn't feel sluggish to me. It feels like a pretty good turn rate for this size of the ship. Actually, it doesn't feel. It actually feels faster than like a Galaxy starship turning one of those. So maneuverability should be quite good on the starship when you're playing with it. You shouldn't feel too frustrated as you're trying to turn towards your enemy or away from your enemy to get away. Should be able to do that fairly easy. So I would give this a good grading on the maneuverability here of the ship. Let's take a close-up look at her. Come to a stop here. We obviously have the impulse engines back here, the hangar bay, these long nacelles that are just crazy long on this starship. Kind of an indent here, which is interesting. There's like windows inside. I guess you wouldn't be able to see anything when you're inside there except across the way, but I don't know what that indent serves or what purpose that serves with that. It's got a lot of texturing on it. Definitely very detailed for this ship. The dome here, our lights and everything, and remember the ring spins when it does spore jumping, and it does do that in the game too. The Bussard collectors are up here. Not quite sure what this is. If someone can let me know below. I don't really know. It obviously are not the impulse engines. They're back here. Maybe it's part of the deflector. Maybe it's part of the phaser array somehow. I'm not really sure, but these blue indicators here, I'm not sure what that is supposed to represent up here, because here's the deflector dish right here. So yeah, not sure, except that of course it is a science ship, and it's an experimental science ship, and it can do some sciencey things, so maybe it's part of the whole science thing that the ship can do. Who knows, because I don't know. But maybe somebody does. Yeah, it's got a nice saucer. I do like the saucer. The back end is questionable, and on this ship it always was, the way it's designed. It's one of these ships, you either like it or you don't like it, you know. And I think it's a bit unproportional. It's a bit long in the nacelle and not a big enough saucer. If it had a bigger saucer, that would balance it out, or shorter nacelles, that would balance it out. It is a little awkward. It almost kind of looks like it's got a tiny saucer compared to the whole back end and the nacelles and all that. But that's the look of it. So that's what you can expect out of the starship when you look at it in game. Let's go look at the loadout and what it supports. When we go to the loadout here, obviously you can see the 4 forward weapon arrays it has, and then you've got the 3 aft. You've got the deflector and a secondary deflector. You got impulse warp shield, 2 engineering, 5 science, 4 tactical. Here's the starship mastery unlocks. If we go look at the stations on it, you can see here I am using 3 intelligence at the moment, but you've got 2. I've got 2 temporal in here also. I'm doing some experimentation with the different specialty seedings it supports, and I wanted to show you that today. But yeah, these are temporal abilities that I have in here. I've got channel deconstruction 1 and rapid decay. Of course, you can use that. That's a universal slot, and this one as well. 1 engineering, 3 tactical, 4 science here. So yeah, you can mix it up. You can have some intelligence powers, you can have some temporal powers, and you can have some regular powers, which I've kind of mixed it up here to show you that all that's kind of possible on that ship. You can mix it up in that way. Now let's talk about the Starship Mastery unlocks. You have the first one, which is a plus 15% damage to exotic damage abilities. The second is plus 10% shield hit points. The third is improves hull healing abilities by 10% and shield healing abilities by 10%. The fourth one is a reactive shield technology. It improves your regeneration and hardness. Right now I have a 640.2 shield regeneration every 6 seconds and a 5% shield resistance, and then the black alert. For 12 seconds after activating beam overload, cannon rapid fire, or an intel bridge officer ability, you do weapon damage to foe, creates a spore duplicate, which attacks the foe and up to 2 other foes, dealing 6,126 kinetic damage to each before disappearing. Up to 4 total spore duplicates may be created, max 1 per 3 seconds. So to enable that, you have to have the overload, beam overload, or cannon rapid fire, or an intel bridge officer ability. So for my intel bridge officer ability, the one I like to use to activate the black alert is this one here called Intelligence Team 2. This has a very fast cooldown on it, and so I can enable the black alert very frequently. And that allows it to do more damage, in this case kinetic damage. And I actually end up using that black alert ability a lot on this ship, a lot. Alright, now we come to the special ability of the ship, the Universal Mycelium Ambush. Now just having this console on the ship gives you a plus 50 Starship Scientific Readiness, a plus 14.3 Starship Exotic Particle Generator, a plus 14.3 Starship Drain Expertise, and a plus 14.3 Starship Control Expertise. The way this works is a teleportation plus weapon buff, and then it teleports you backward with a torpedo salvo. So the way this works is you target your enemy, it teleports you 8 kilometers forward. To foes that are within 5 kilometers of your destination is a negative flight speed for 10 seconds, and then to self, you get a 50% firing cycle haste for energy weapons, and a plus 50 accuracy rating, and plus 25% critical chance. But then after 5 seconds, you launch 3 torpedo salvo that deal 4,000 kinetic damage per torpedo, and then it teleports you back. Now this is a kind of a weird ability, and I have not found it that useful. Yeah, unfortunately it's just not that useful. It only works in really specific cases, and primarily best on bigger ships, because the way it teleports you, it almost teleports you sometimes out of the range of other ships and too far forward. So you end up really not doing a lot of damage. All the enemies are behind you, and you're just not really giving it your best. You've only got those aft weapons firing at that point. So that's the drawback here. It teleports you forward, but then all your enemies are behind you, and so all you're firing are your aft turrets. In this case, all I have are turrets in the back. So that means only turrets are going to be firing toward the enemy instead of my actual phaser beams. So it doesn't work well for me. I prefer to use the black alert ability more than this one, but I will demonstrate it and show you how it works anyway. Now let's look at my specs really quick so you know what I've got going on here. Currently my stealth detection rating is 109.3, power transfer rate is 286%, my defense rating is 63, my hull is at 92,000, so that's up there quite a bit. Hull repair rate 70.5% a minute. My shield strength is at 30,000. I do have pretty strong shields on here. I'm using the Elite Fleet Adaptive Covariant shields. My resists are kind of right at about 38-39% for everything, pretty evenly across there, so that's nice. I have an accuracy of 30.2, critical chance of 18.7%, and crit severity at 98.4%. My flight speed is 29.53, turn rate is 14.3 degrees per second right now. That's why I'm turning really good. And as you can see, I am using sensor-linked phaser dual beam bank here, sensor-linked phaser beam arrays here, a regular photon torpedo launcher. This is from the Starbase fleet. You can get all these like elite weapons from there, and that's pretty much what I got going on here. So this is an Elite Fleet deflector array. Then I have the strategic deteriorating secondary deflector, the Elite Fleet efficient impulse engine, Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Core, and then the Adaptive Variant Shield, as I said. Then the aft weapons are sensor linked or integrity linked phaser turrets, kind of a mix there. And then the console, obviously here, and then of course I've got everything buffed for phaser damage, and that's basically my setup on here. Let me demonstrate a couple of these abilities before we go into battle. For example, let me engage the black alert. It will not do anything because I don't have any enemies targeted, but I can show you how I activate it. I hit this right here. Notice right here it says black alert. So that means black alert is active. So if I had enemies right now targeted, it would be doing the thing where it duplicates my ship.
Warning, ship is under attack.
Then it goes off, and then I have a 25-second wait for it to happen again. But luckily, this one cools down really fast. Look at that cooldown time. So by the time this is cooled down, I'll be able to activate this again and just keep using that black alert ability a whole lot, and it's really useful. So now let's look at the mycelium ambush one. I do not have a target, obviously, right now. I'm just in space. I can't do anything here. But I can activate it just to show you what it kind of looks like.
Warning.
We
Ship
spin,
is under attack.
we go forward, and then we wait, and
Warning.
it goes
Ship
back.
is under attack.
So that's how it works. It spins around, goes forward 8 kilometers, waits a few seconds, and then goes back to where you started. So imagine that in battle. That's how it's working. But imagine you could go forward beyond your enemy, so you're only firing your aft weapons. And then it's not so useful. And that's what typically happens to me. So those are the special features of the ship. So what I'll do now is we'll go into a patrol. And I will demonstrate those two abilities primarily, and then you can just kind of watch me fight in the patrol and maneuver the ship and see how it works and how it behaves as I'm in combat. So stand by, we'll get that set up. Okay, here we are in a patrol. We are in a patrol right now, and what I'm going to do...
Put these Mokai rebels down like the rabid dogs they are.
Just stand by and watch as I go into action here. I'm going to use the black alert first. I'll demonstrate that.
Ah, the Mokai rebels.
Warning, ship is under
Black
attack.
alert.
It means to be a warrior.
Target's shields have failed.
See how my ship is being duplicated and kind of popping in and out? You might not have saw it too well. I'll wait again and we'll come back and do it again. But what you want to look for is my ship doing its spore jumping, or a duplicate of it, doing spore jumping out there while I'm attacking my foes. We'll make sure it's all cooled down, which it is, and I will do it again.
Those are Imperial warships. They have joined forces with the Mokai.
Ship is under attack.
There it is. See how it's spore jumping all over the place?
4 shields failing.
So if you'll notice, it was just kind of spore jumping all over the place. That is the black alert, which
It is
which I really love. I really love that black alert. For the next thing that happens here, I'll go ahead and use the Lorca maneuver,
Come and save these
which is what that's called, mycelial ambush,
honor
Lorca maneuver.
Mokai Pachach.
Here we
I will
go.
litter the stars with your corpses.
So let's do that.
Warning, ship is under attack.
Ah, I hit the wrong thing. Oh, there
4
we go.
shields failing.
See, now I'm just firing behind me. That's not doing a lot. There's that salvo. Now I'm back into the
Hull
fight.
integrity below 75%.
Kind of a weird thing.
Target's shields have failed. Hull integrity below 50%.
Yeah, I just really don't find the Lorca maneuver very useful.
Your house.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Hull integrity below 75%. Target's shields have failed. Door shields failing.
I don't know why it just did that.
Hull integrity below 50%.
Sometimes it glitches out and does that.
Hull integrity below 25%.
Your house still burns. Make the choice of a wise man, not a fool.
Left shields failing. Hull integrity below 25%. Target's shields have failed.
Only a few rebels remain. Do what must be done.
There we go. All done on that one. Took a little bit of damage.
Victory is coming.
So there you can see these new patrols are pretty tough, so they're a good test of the abilities of this ship. But that kind of gives you an idea of how it performs in battle and what the abilities look like. Okay, so my final review of this ship, I actually like it. As far as Star Trek Online goes, this is a very capable ship in this game. It's a very good science ship. It's a very powerful science ship. It can do a lot of damage, and it can do a lot of effects, do a ton of different things. It's very versatile in that way. You can do intelligence powers. You can do temporal powers, regular powers. I would say that the starship trait, the Black Alert, is the most useful. It is really, really good, and like I said, I use it just constantly while I'm in battle because it's a really good feature. The mycelial ambush, or Lorca's maneuver as it's called when you click on the button, that one I don't find it useful, so I don't use it at all. I leave the console on there because I like the benefits the console provides. Otherwise, it has those passive benefits it provides, but the active power is not very useful in my opinion. The Black Alert is more useful. But just, minus that, take that away from the ship, it's still a good Tier 6 ship and a very capable ship in this game. So I would actually recommend this ship if you're looking for a unique ship to fly in this game. It's definitely one worth checking out and giving it a chance, because I think you could do some really cool builds with it. But that is my review of the Crossfield-Class Science Spearhead in Star Trek Online. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think in your comments down below. Does this ship interest you or not? If you like what you see here, consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like, as it definitely helps. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Now, check this out. Let's mycelial spore out of here. Check out Twitter at Brent_Justice for updates. You can follow me there. Also, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/BrentJustice. This helps support the channel and also allows me to publish more and more videos.